Hello, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the final video of the Humble Seeker series of videos. I hope you will review the videos in this series from time to time. I believe you'll find that they have additional information to offer as your understanding increases. Let's look at the final question in the frequently asked questions section. That question is, do you have any suggestions for the sincere seeker? I'll answer it by saying this. One of the most important blessings that a seeker can receive is to be given the blessing of being aware of guidance from the higher self. This blessing opens the door to guidance that we all seek. Guidance that will point us in the right direction when it's time to make important decisions. The higher self will inevitably guide you to the life experiences and decision-making opportunities that are necessary to help you accomplish those goals which you have reincarnated here to accomplish. Wanting foreknowledge, or a so-called blueprint for upcoming events in our lives, is a common occurrence, but not desirable as something to insist upon. I'm not suggesting that you should have no feelings about anything. I'm simply saying that it's best not to give a truly high priority to any desire that you feel to be one that is more of a personal nature and that may not be from the higher self. You may have seen examples in the Judeo-Christian Bible and other writings of persons who were instructed by a positive higher power to, let's say, quote, go to such and such a city and there it will be told to you what to do, end quote. I'm sure you haven't found many examples in the Bible of the person being instructed responding by saying, well, why don't you just go ahead and tell me everything now, and that way I can know enough to be able to plan better. That, of course, would be seeking foreknowledge or a blueprint, where the desired response would be to obey and show a willingness to trust that the rest of the information will come when needed. I'll give you briefly some suggestions which you can follow or not as you choose. But I believe they will be helpful, especially if you are someone who chooses to seek the highest path. Number one, work to move your life in this direction at whatever speed and to whatever degree makes sense to you. Seek more and more to serve, seeking less and less for self. In other words, let serving the higher positive forces, and specifically your guide, probably your higher self would be involved. Let that be your greatest priority. Asking for no thing for self that would have a higher priority than your desire to serve. Consider this somewhat akin to the idea to seek first the right things without thought of self, and the fulfillment of personal needs will follow automatically. Number two, ask of or pray to your higher self, remembering that the higher self is inextricably a part of the spark of God that lives within us all. Or pray to your other guide if applicable. And when you pray that you receive guidance to know and therefore do the will of your guide. If you're not yet receiving direct communication from your guide and you want to be certain that you understand the response correctly, and if you think you're ready for the results of such a request, that is, you may ask to be guided about these things in such a way that you cannot possibly misunderstand the will of your guide. Be forewarned, however, that this can result, I like to use the term, in the use of a cosmic, quote, 2x4, unquote, applied to a place where it will best get your attention, if it's necessary, in order to get you pointed in the right direction. Obviously, this should not be taken literally. It simply means that you may get more than you bargained for when you ask to be advised in such a way. It will, however, have little or no doubt as to what you should do if you have asked correctly and if you are paying attention. Number 3, be willing to follow information that will be forthcoming. This information may come from almost any kind of source. It could come through dreams, magazine article, books, television, movies, friends, your own ideas, etc. As the situation develops and or as time passes, especially if things may change, even somewhat, continue to ask and confirm with your guide whether the initial guidance should still be followed, or if instructions may have changed with the circumstances that have changed or with time. See number 4 for more information. Number 4, don't get in a hurry. Take the time, once you believe you've received your answer, to confirm the information received, especially if it is regarding any major or life-changing decisions. Do this by saying to your guide in effect, "This is my understanding of what you want me to do. Please let me know if it is indeed your will. And again, please do so in a way that I cannot possibly misunderstand." I want you to read carefully, too, the paragraph after item number 7, to be certain that you can depend on what you've been told. Remember, however, that as your situation progresses, there may be changes that take place, some even without your knowledge. So it can be important to continue asking as matters progress in order to be certain that you're still moving in the right direction to properly approach and deal with the matter at hand. This is especially important for life-changing and very significant changes in your life. Things can and often do change. Number 5, try to avoid letting yourself become overly concerned to the point of being dragged down by the fact that life does have its everyday difficulties, for they are one of the most important reasons why we do come here, incarnate in this life. That is, to meet and overcome the difficulties and obstacles that life presents, and thereby learn the lessons of life that are associated with those particular life experiences. Number 6, be reminded that because of number 5 above, it's always better to pray for greater strength than it is to pray for fewer problems. Number 7, those who guide you, at this time perhaps your higher self, always appreciate a sincere thank you, especially when it is truly from the heart, as a result of your recognition and acknowledgement of a particular blessing you have received. Even if it's nothing that you've asked for, if you have a blessing that happens to you, a thank you is always worthwhile and in order. I have a feeling that if you diligently read through these 7 points and follow carefully the suggestions therein, especially when taken and used with the other information in all of these other videos in the Humble Seeker series, you will sooner or later find that your life has greater focus and direction. You may someday even find that you have become one with your higher self, giving yourself over completely to the will of your higher self. Your higher self is the true you. The physical part of us is merely the vehicle that we create to use as we live in and learn on this physical plane. Success in this endeavor, becoming one with the higher self, that is, will lead to still higher levels of guidance, perhaps even in this lifetime. Be certain, always, that the one which you seek to serve is attuned to the positive vibrations, the positive forces of the greater light, by asking if the message and the bearer of the message come in the Christ Spirit. That is extremely important, especially if this message is a significant one or a life-changing one. Never seek to bring harm to another being. If needed, however, feel free to protect yourself. But even then, do so in ways that bring no harm to another, if at all possible. Remember in the Star Wars series that the Master Yoda told Luke that a Jedi uses the Force only for protection, never for attack. Do nothing which you feel forces you to go against your own inner light, the spark of God which lives within us all. I hope you will accept my sincere gratitude for your taking the time to visit this set of series of videos. And if you visited my website, humbleseeker.org, I thank you for that also. I hope you are equally pleased to have been visiting in these sites. I would now like to add these final words for this video. It is my thought that those of you who have taken the time to read this far must have more than just a casual interest in these studies. It occurs to me that you are probably someone who has watched the material in these videos because you have a deep and abiding interest in matters that are spiritual in nature. It further occurs to me that you may also be someone who has tried or is trying to dedicate your life in service to higher positive cosmic forces. If that should describe you, then I urge you to continue now. It is to you that I can now say that as the author of these videos, I, along with my native country, the United States of America, and the rest of the planet as a whole, are all at long last beginning to draw near to a very major crossroads in the history of the planet. Which path we will take will determine our future. The path that the author must take, your speaker, is clear. It is a difficult path, but it leads to the high road, which leads to the greater light. I must do everything in my power to make certain that my country, that I first, then my country, and the planet as a whole follow that same difficult but crucially important path, because all other roads will lead us all to eventual spiritual destruction, perhaps even to a world somewhat like the one portrayed in the classic film Soylent Green, or even worse, if that is possible. This must not be allowed to happen. Many will share the task of putting us and then keeping us on the high road. It will be a difficult and perhaps a thankless task, but a necessary one. I know that the higher positive cosmic forces will do their part, but there are certain tasks that must be performed on this physical level also. Help will be needed. There may be a few of you who read this who will, I feel, find deep within yourselves that when you read these words you have spent your entire life preparing to assist in that work. That realization may come to you. That beautiful shiver may go up your spine and your neck as you read what is written here. It is to those few of you that I now speak these particular words. I would like to hear from you by email if you're interested in perhaps becoming involved with others in this work. I would be grateful if your message would include a very brief biography, as well as giving me an idea of your spiritual preparation and your current situation. I will respond then to advise you whether or not your participation has been deemed to be appropriate, or alternatively, if you may be more valuable elsewhere, or perhaps even where you are currently. I thank you. You may reach me at miltozah@live.com, miltozah@live.com. That email address is at the website humbleseeker.org. Again, thank you so very much for watching this series of videos. I hope that they provided to you with all that you wanted from them and that they did not disappoint you in any way. Thank you again, and God bless.